It's 11:33. It is. It's funny. I heard one commentator this morning describing Liz Truss's mood as very buoyant, very ebullient in Birmingham. I suppose she's still got the boost of winning, you know, even if everything is currently turning to dust in her hands. What's the opposite of the Midas touch, do you think? Everything turns to shocking levels of sewage when you touch it, as opposed to gold. And don't at me. I know that the story of King Midas wasn't quite just like the story of the King Canute. It's not as is widely believed. But the excitement of having become Prime Minister, your childhood dreams have come true. It must be fairly immense. So I can believe that she's fairly buoyant in Birmingham. Although a lot of people are messaging, including Danny Blanchflower on Twitter, describing her body language and her overall mood in every interview. He says it seems worse than the prior one. Her body language shows it all. She's drowning before our very eyes as her support in her country, in the country and her own party crumbles. It seems impossible to rectify. How do we explain it? I mean, it is just Brexit, isn't it, ultimately? I wonder how, if you spent much of the last few years screaming at me, I wonder how you're processing this. It's becoming fairly close to incontrovertible now, isn't it, that Brexit broke Britain. And it broke the Conservative Party, oddly, despite the fact that it was designed to save it. They've been in power for the 6 years since, but I think that's probably got rather more to do with the paucity of opposition than it has to do with the strength of support for the Conservatives. Johnson managed to embody Brexit. Johnson's gone. So has any last vestige of claim that Brexit was a good idea. That comment from Conor Burns, the trade minister, he's the latest one to insert to put the boot into Liz Truss, and he's done it this morning while praising Kemi Badenoch, his boss, I guess, in that department. This is quite interesting, I think. Him saying it's not about Instagram posts about trade deals. The mystery of Liz Truss's popularity among the members was Brexit. And what she did, and no one really noticed it at the time, I'm not even sure we did, what she did, I noticed it when I saw the polling. When the polling of Conservative members started coming back and Liz Truss was way ahead of everybody else, that's the point at which you have to sort of go, what, pardon? Hello? Sorry? What? Pardon? And it became pretty clear that what she was doing was giving people Brexit drugs. She was dealing Brexit. She was giving them a high by pretending that signing a rollover trade deal with Ulaanbaatar or signing a deal with Outer Mongolia, or just completely copying, cutting and pasting a deal with a country that has a trade deal with the European Union, usually a little bit diminished, not always, but even the trade deals that were marginally better than the deals with within the European Union, like with Japan, have ended up being worse because we're doing less trade, because we're no longer a gateway into the biggest single market in the world. But that thing from Conor Burns about Liz Truss's Instagram posts, if you didn't understand it, that's exactly what he's talking about. It's interesting to see that, even that breaking now. Her popularity among the members was based entirely upon getting them high on Brexit, in a way that even Johnson couldn't do. Johnson, with the absence of the vaccine rollout, which of course could have done within the European Union, there was nothing specific to Brexit Johnson could point at as an achievement or a success. Liz Truss could claim, erroneously, that signing all these trade deals, which were largely meaningless and never better than what we had before, was a great Brexit achievement. So that was the brilliant, for want of a better word, lie that she affected on the Conservative Party membership. And what was brilliant about it was that only the Conservative Party membership really noticed. They were so plugged in, they were so addicted to their Brexit highs and so desperate for a new supply because all of the old suppliers had gone out of business. You know, even Farage had hung up his pipes. No one was dealing Brexit drugs anymore. And Truss came along and essentially put a new product on the market, trade deals. And they hoovered it up. They were snorting it like it was going out of business. A trade deal without pork markets. Absolutely love it. It's fantastic. They were loving it. And it was all nonsense. And that's why it's fallen apart so quickly. Because the only thing that propelled her into power was a curious claim to be continuity Boris Johnson, and having got the membership really, really high on dodgy Brexit drugs. And she can't do the dodgy Brexit drugs anymore because she's Prime Minister now. She can't sort of slide out ludicrous claims that signing a trade deal with Guatemala is going to somehow replace the trade we've lost with the biggest single market in the world. And she can't do continuity Boris Johnson anymore because she's torched quite a lot of his legacy and is preparing to torch more of it. Are you writing this down? It's strong stuff, this.